Hey, what's up, YouTube? This is Treve. How you doing? I hope you guys are well. I'm having a fantastic morning here. I'm on the road today, transporting with my guys, and today seems to be a pretty good day. I can't complain. But guys, listen. I've had something came to my mind last night, and I want to talk to you guys about it. And this is talking about credentialing your drivers. This is a major aspect, and I have to credential my drivers prior to bringing them on board and everything like that. So the thing is, you want to make sure you have a qualified driver. You want to make sure that your driver checks out okay. Now, this is kind of playing Russian roulette because it's a double-edged sword. Because some mentees just came to me and said, well, listen, I've got a past, situation and blah, blah, blah. And I understand that. There's a thing about this transportation industry that when you're dealing with certain brokers or you're dealing with certain contracts or agreements, they do require that certain people, not certain people, but all people, be background checked. Now, that is true. So the thing is, you have to background check your drivers because you have to make sure that they're qualified. Background check means not just doing a local, because sometimes some companies will just say, hey, well, just let me do just a local background check. Well, you have to understand, just doing a background check locally doesn't mean that it's going to suffice for the whole state or the whole United States, because just because that person has lived, say, in Jacksonville, Florida for a year, they could have lived in Raleigh, North Carolina prior and committed violent crimes, and then there you go, you're in a situation there. Their background check in Jacksonville may be clean, but in North Carolina it may be cloudy. So you have to be careful there. Typically, there's crimes that people have committed that I really feel like it's petty. I don't think that's a disqualifier. You have to be kind of careful with that too. But, basically my main concern is dealing with someone that has had a long history and that's continuously going down the same path. It's kind of hard because I've dealt with the situation before, guys. I've had a guy, a John Doe one time. He came to me, he was like, I need a second chance in life, blah, blah, blah. And I felt so compelled and I felt so compassionate. I wanted to give him a chance. He was having some substance abuse issues years and years ago. And I said, well, you know what, man, I got you. Let me give you a chance. He was like, all I need is a chance, Trey. All I need is a chance. So I did a background check. It wasn't that bad. I felt like it would pass, the other places that I was dealing with. And, a lot of the, when I submitted it to other places, they didn't care at all about it. But it was the situation that happened one day where I sent this individual on a trip, and me and the other drivers was stuck at the fair transporting clients. And my client that I've been transporting for a while called me at 2 o'clock and was like, your driver's never here. Your driver's not here. Where is he at? I tried calling him, never called back. I called him an hour later, never called back. 2 hours later, never called back. 9 o'clock at night, he never called back. This is the days before I put GPS and everything in my vans. Well, he got missing. The van came back. No call, no show. Really made me really upset because I felt like I gave him a chance, and I'm always trying to look out for other people. He called back 2 days later, apologizing, saying he was sorry and blah, blah, blah. And, and I kind of know what the deal was with that. And it's not exposing anybody because, I eventually, he came back and apologized. And, guys, I know you're going to probably beat me up for this. I know you're gonna probably put shade on me with this, but I gave him another chance, and he ended up doing it again. So I ended up terminating him, and I said, I can't do this anymore because this is putting me at jeopardy, and my business is getting, reputation could be possibly at jeopardy. But it was the fact of I had a heart for people, and it was just something he was holding on to his past. He could not let go. And I can't be held liable for saying this up here because I'm not calling any names out. But we had to let him go. And, you know, I felt like what I did to try to help him was justifiable because he missed me over the second time. So I have no hard feelings about it. But you have to really background check your drivers, making sure they don't have any healthcare registry violations with the state, beating clients, sexual exploitation, making sure they're not on a registry or anything like that. And I know some people can probably be upset when I say this, but you have to check for registries because, you know, these places that you transport for, they're not going to allow anybody to drive or transport people under that agreement if they've been on the registry. You know, for his driving violations and things like that, I understand, you know, people have certain situations that go on. When it comes to tickets and things like that, you know, I'll allow one ticket, but when you start getting 3 and 4 and moving infractions and things like that, then that's a problem because that means that they haven't learned their lesson. I can understand it's years and years ago, but when it's like current, then we got a problem. Biggest things I look for on driver record checks is DWIs. You know, if the DWI happened 10 years ago, it's okay because people make mistakes. We're all not perfect. But if it's like recent, like a year or two, that may be a concern because once again, the places you transport for, they're not going to allow it to happen. And it's not really me throwing shade on them. It's the higher ups for as, you know, the contracts, the brokers, the workers' compensation companies. They may have an issue with that. So you really got to be careful with that, guys. You know, the thing is, a lot of people just say, well, let me just tell the driver, the potential candidate, to just bring me in a background check from their courthouse. But what you got to realize is, just because it shows here doesn't mean it doesn't show somewhere else. Somewhere else it may not show. If, you know, say if you're in Raleigh, it's clear. They may have lived somewhere else, and there you go. I may have already repeated that, but just stressing that out. Another thing, too, you got to make sure they have CPR training. Make sure they have CPR, bloodborne pathogens, and you have to train them thoroughly. I put my drivers through strenuous training, hands-on, when it comes to wheelchair safety. I make sure I'm a client and I show them the proper way of doing things. I do different scenarios of how a client would potentially be if they're irritable, happy, aggressive, fresh. You know, I put on different scenarios in a very respectful way, guys. I'm not serious when I do it, but I do it, you know, to try to show them this is what you are doomed to see once you get out on your own when it comes out of transportation. Because in reality, people laugh at the way I act when I'm doing trainings. When I travel somewhere out of state to train a new company on wheelchair safety, they laugh. It was like, oh, this is funny. But reality, they call back and say, I had a client like that 2 weeks later, and I'm glad you prepared me for what is to happen. So you got to make sure that you train them thoroughly on wheelchair safety, know why it takes to use the front restraints and the back restraints and, you know, what it does and blah, 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 blah. You know, those are the things you want to show them prior to bringing them on. And once you bring them on, ride with them 2 or 3 days, 4 days. This is your investment. This is your company. You want to make sure that their first day, they're not out there and they're not out there doing the wrong thing. It's very important, very imperative that you train them thoroughly. Background check is done thoroughly. Driving record check done. And you have your policies, procedure manual ready for them to sign. A cell phone policy. You know, those are the things you really want to implement. You know, making sure that, hey, guys, it's okay to take the van to get something to eat. But for is taking the van here, there, and everywhere, deviating out of, you know, route, it could be a serious problem. Don't do that. I had one guy, when I was in the moving company, I had a moving truck business. I had a guy used to deliver car parts for me and deliver furniture for me. My van was spotted, my box truck was spotted at 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning at a nightclub. and the dude was there with his girlfriend, terminate him. Not gonna happen. So these are the things I want to just tell you guys. Make sure you implement these things: the training, the background check, the registry, the healthcare registry. Oh, and a TB scan test. Make sure your drivers have a TB scan test done. Sometimes their readings may show positive, but that doesn't mean they have TB. Sometimes their reaction comes differently. So just get a chest x-ray, because they don't need to go back and get another skin test if they've already tested positive in the past. Make sure they go get a chest x-ray, or if they had a chest x-ray within the last 4 to 5 years, get them to show you records of it, and they can get records of it from the health department or the doctor's office or wherever they got it done at. So guys, I just want to leave a couple nuggets with you. If you need anything, reach out to me. Text me during the day. You can call me at night after 7 o'clock. Whatever you need, guys, I got you. Guys, take care. Hope you have a good day. Peace.